The temple of God is sacred, and you are the temple. The Most Reverend Paul Samogerere implores all people of God and goodwill to pray and generously contribute towards the preparation, faithful and successful celebrations of this sacred memorial event. For financial support, use Centenary Bank, account number 31 00 11 71 79. In the name Lubaga Cathedral at 100 years. May God bless your generosity as you donate.
Election is the voice of the people, through which we express our aspirations, choices, decisions, hopes and dreams for a better Uganda. It is the equalizer where every citizen, regardless of social, economic, political background or status, possesses the same weight in shaping the course of our country. Use your right. Exert your power by participating in all stages of the general public elections to get the leader you deserve. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hey Sam.
Hey Aisha.
Did you know our local council does more than collect rubbish?
Really? I thought they only handle trash day and road repairs.
Sam, there is so much more. They plan roads, health facilities, approve building permits, support local schools, and listen to our concerns. They even set budgets to make sure services are well delivered and identifying and registering eligible households for the parish development model and any other government projects. So, that's how services get paid for.
Wow. So they help decide where the money goes and what gets fixed. But how do I tell them what our community needs?
Great question, Sam. You can attend council meetings, send a written request, or visit the council office. Your views help shape local priorities for the market, the playground, even water points.
That sounds important. I always wondered how to hold them accountable.
Ask for reports, check meeting minutes, join community forums, and vote in local elections. LOCs work for all members of the community, including men, women, the young, the old, and people with disabilities. Holding leaders accountable
keeps services working for everyone.
So it's our council and our responsibility. Show up, speak up, and vote.
Sam, is an LOC chairperson supposed to charge money on land transactions?
Aisha, it's illegal. No LC chairperson is allowed to charge money on any land transaction. His role here is to witness a successful land transaction at no cost.
Exactly. Want to learn more? Visit your
local councils or else.
It's hot.
With that state, we didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and clear, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio, Butebo FM, West Nile FM, and Magic 100 FM, and live stream on YouTube. You can also listen to the repeated broadcasts of UBC Ground Zero every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome
to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2.
Yes, indeed, it is UBC Ground Zero. The people of Uganda want to welcome you to this important edition of UBC Ground Zero. This program is live on 5 radio stations, and we stream live on YouTube. You just put UBC Ground Zero and you'll be part of the conversation. The radios that cover this program live is UBC Radio in Kampala, 98.0 FM, Arua 97.4 FM, Lira 99.4 FM. We are also live in Eastern Uganda on Butebo Radio. In case you are in Mbare, we are on 96.9 FM, Soroti 98.4 FM, and that covers all the eastern parts of this country. We are also live and clear on UBC Western Nile Radio, that is in the heart of Arua City, and that is on 98.0 FM. That covers Western Nile Sub-Region, Choli Sub-Region, Lango Sub-Region, Teso, and also Karamoja Sub-Region. And we also live in central parts of this country, that is on Magic 100 FM. That covers all parts of central Uganda, and we're also live and clear on Voice of Bundubujo, covering all parts of western Uganda and southern parts of this country. Ampaire Amon Buteega is my name, and I want to welcome you to this important edition where we're going to be discussing something very important. As we all know that the campaigns have kicked off, and tonight we gather under the theme, the campaign trail begins. Uganda's readiness for general polls 2026 is what is going to be guiding our discussion today, and with over a year of elections that we have been preparing this conversation, we want to see how timely it is, and also want to see how Ugandans are asking and also contributing to this journey with our institutions and also other stakeholders. Want to see their readiness as political parties prepared. Is the Electoral Commission prepared? Are Ugandans prepared? Are security agencies prepared? Are the citizens confident in the processes or the process ahead? To help us unpack these critical issues that we are going to be looking at, we are honored to be joined by a very distinguished panel guests that are in the studios of UBC, and most of them, they are our own part of UBC Ground Zero family. Dr. Patricia Achano Kiria, now former deputy IGG, and but once general, is always a general, always a privilege having you, Dr. Patricia.
Thank you very much, Amon, and morning listeners. It's indeed a blessing to be part of this conversation here this morning. Thank you.
Interesting is this IGG. Most of us know and we celebrate her for her gospel that she's always preaching to this country, and also many other countries that she has been representing. Seasoned voice on matters of governance, integrity, but also accountability. Is always a privilege having you, Dr. Okiria, there. And we also do have a privilege of having Kazwara Nathan. David is a public NRM member, and most of the people that have been following him, one would say that I will keep my comment later on, but he's a publicist from the NRM, very strong supporter of the party. Most welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Amon. I'm so grateful for hosting me on this great coverage, UBC Ground Zero, and I'm so again grateful for you to give me and the UBC management to give me this advantage to be hosted on this program, and even to have these great people here with me in the studio of UBC. Thank you.
Interesting, Kazwara. For those that have been following you on radios and TVs, is very, very Oko, especially when it comes to NRM, and he's here to share the ruling party's vision and readiness for the 2026 polls. Representing the youth of this country who happen to be and celebrate their numbers, being the majority of Ugandans, and we are here to celebrate you, the Gen Zs, and is also one of the leaders from the Democratic Party. For those that were there, is the Emeritus UIDA President, and this is Kiria Ismail. A privilege having you again, Ismail.
Thank you, Amon and UBC. To the listeners, Kiria Ismail is my name. I'm the President of the Uganda Young Democrats Emeritus. I'm really happy and a privilege actually to share shoulders with these guests. Last time I was supposed to be on ground zero, but I had some issues, so I apologize to the listeners who had prepared for me in that line. Thank you.
It is well. Well, representing the Democratic Party and also those that guide government that provide the alternative solutions, that is the opposition, is represented by Ismail here, and indeed we represent the opposition perspective on the political space but also the electoral fairness. And we're expecting Fred Bamwine, is the commissioner from Office of the President, former RDC, and also very educative, and also is going to be inspiring us this very morning and afternoon. This is UBC Ground Zero. We're here for the next 2 hours, but you're always welcome to share your perspective and views and any concerns to be addressed by my guests in the studios. 0776 511 426 is the number you can call. We are asking ourselves how Ugandans are ready. Together we bring a wealth of experience and perspectives and ideas that will shed light on Uganda's electoral journey as the campaign trail officially begins. And I think President Museveni, candidate of the NRM, is in Lango for 3 days now. The other day was in Leptong. The other day, I think on Wednesday or Tuesday, was in Amorata. Dr. Mugisha Muntu is in Western Uganda. Robert Chagulanyi has been in Eastern Uganda. And Mubarak Mnyagwa is still here in Central Uganda. Many have gone to your places. I do want to believe that you have been seeing and meeting presidential candidates, and where they haven't reached any time, they are coming. But how Uganda is ready? Institutions, security, electoral commission, the people of Uganda, but also their candidates. I want to start with the political parties, and then Doctor is going to be guiding us, especially when we have Dr. Kiria, someone who has been preaching against corruption. It is during this time of elections that we tend to see bags and bags of money that are going to the communities now. People are going to be given 1,500, 10,000, and others have gone to 10, 50,000 in order to be supported, where candidates are giving out money, buying and bribing voters to be elected. To buy this, but to serve this country, I want to believe that it is a calling. Why should you buy that calling? Why should you buy people to support you, yet you know that you are a leader? How do we reach there? Kazora,
Yes,
you're
sir.
the ruling party.
Yeah.
How ready are you as the political party, but also as you as members of the NRM? How far have you gone? How do you see the ground?
Amon, I thank you once again for this opportunity. I thank all listeners on UBC where you are listening us from. Obviously, the question is you have given us a very good topic to discuss on, because for us NRM, as NRM, we are prepared. I can say the citizens that are supporting NRM are 100% prepared for the polls to come 2026. Why am I saying that? First of all, I have to thank people who have been welcoming hotly President Museveni where he has been going, starting here in Luero, up to now in Lango. We are seeing many people coming in to join his campaign. And I thank President Museveni again, even the delegates who decided to choose him as our president, next president, a flag bearer, and even a chairman of NRM. Because you see, Museveni, we support him for a reason. We support him because of his political heft, because of his political influence, not even in Uganda alone, but in the region, if not all Africa. So, coming back to the question, is NRM ready for the polls? I would say yes, we are ready, because it has been a habit. Each and after 5 years, we have been holding elections, and we have been coming. Our candidate has been coming out as the victor one. So I want to urge all Ugandans not to be scared, not to be intimidated, because it is our right to choose our leader. I might going away from NRM. I might say even other parties, they are showing they are ready in their way of organizing things, though it is not all that democratically 100%. But every Ugandan, I think, is already, electoral commission is already, because every activity is being done the way it is supposed to be done. Security, obviously, yesterday we saw Major General Kuraije was addressing journalists and was telling them that police, they are keeping law and order. But of course, that law and order must be brought in place by army in uniform. Therefore, was answering people who have a question, why do we see armies in the election? Obviously, we need peace. And you see the slogan, protecting the gains. People have gained something. There are very many things, not even something. And those things should not be disorganized, destabilized, taken away or killed. So that's the purpose why army and the sister companies, you are seeing them in election. As long as a soldier has not disorganized your peace, has not beaten you, has not, then you should not even bother. They are there to keep peace and order. Secondly, the other indicator showing that we are prepared is that there is no fragile political situation. In Uganda, may say, there is no fragile. Everybody is at ease, is supporting his candidate he wants. But as in NRM, I'm so grateful to support a mighty party, a party with many people. I was in a certain another house media, and I mentioned it. If NRM is the most loved in East Africa, political party, most political party loved, might be the second Chama cha Mapinduzi. And that is, of course, favor from God. We thank God also, who has protected our beloved President Museveni. Because one person can restore a country, as you see. Of course, President Museveni is not only person leading this country. He has other many people behind him, ruling with him. But of course, he's the vision bearer. So I thank God for him, for his life, for his good vision, good ideologies for Uganda and for every person. As he's campaigning, he promised Ugandans to bring him back in chair of the presidency, such that the 33% who are out of money economy can be easily brought in the circle of money economy, so that every Ugandan can be okay. You know, you have to remember, Mr. Amon and all the listeners, that when people of the nation have money in their pockets, obviously the economy of that country must be stable and growing. That's why President Museveni is fighting day and night, so that every person must be in money economy, transacting money every day, not just growing or rearing cows and drink and eat only. So I thank Ugandans. Of course, I am sure for us, NRM, we are sure that by 2026, January 14th, and a few days after 14th, President Museveni will declare the winner with 75%. Because why people always vote Museveni whenever he comes back? Because he has performed to the expectations of the people. He has performed. So, and I always tell Ugandans, and even I'm telling you people who are listening us today, that what you need is the service delivery. You people are saying President Museveni has overstayed. Museveni has never overstayed in power. What we need is not to change leaders. Because 62 to 86, we changed 8 leaders. But I don't think that all Ugandans were okay. People are crying. Uganda was nothing. It is President Museveni and other people who are governing this country with him who have managed to take this country out of dustbin to the best level where it has reached now. So another element that shows that we are prepared. The people who are crossing, I always tell you, Amon, people are crossing from opposition. Even, by the way, last night I received a call. 50 MPs, they want to meet President Museveni. They are contesting for, aspiring for a card in NUP. And they never received the card. They want now to join us.
50 MPs?
Yes. They, of course, they are not MPs. Others, they are still MPs. Others, they are contesting for the first time. But after failing to get the card, that's what I told you. For us in NRM, we have the spirit of the party. Can you tell me one person who have crossed to opposition because he has failed? Because he knows it is the system that has failed him, not the leaders of NRM. But the other parties just 6 people sit in an office and choose leaders as if they are choosing workers at home. That is another issue also.
Okay, interesting.
I was finishing with this.
Please.
Obviously, democracy, I told you, started with government of NRM. I'm not saying democracy, all democracy elements we have them here, but at least we're around 80%, of which 80% is a good percentage to lead us. That's why I'm telling you, we need to highlight the human rights violators. By the way, I saw news on the TV, one of the TVs, that some of the policemen were removing these pictures, posters of Kyagulanyi. Why? Why should you remove the post of Kyagulanyi when you are a policeman in a uniform? That act, I take it as a sham and uncivilized.
But so, also police the other day, they mentioned that some of the supporters of some candidates were placing their posters in the middle of the roads. We believe that we have to do the campaigns, but we also don't have to halt traffic and other people's businesses.
Stop me from what you are saying, Mr. Amon. I don't think that is the work of the police. To remove posters of the candidates, that's the work of the state council workers. It is the KCCA should direct people to organize the city because that's their role. So may I saw it as something uncivilized.
Okay, as you conclude on that, sir.
Therefore, I only call upon Ugandans to support President Museveni by 2026. And I thank you for listening to me. Thank
Interesting. Kiria, how ready is the stakeholders? I think DP is not in the campaigns, maybe your MPs, but looking back and seeing how the situation is, and people that you always say that you provide the alternative solutions for the government as the opposition, but also as a member of this country and the youth. How do you see? Do you see that the level is the ground is leveled for all of us to campaign effectively?
Thank you so much. I want first of all appreciate Mr. Kazora for the wonderful remarks he has made. Indeed, your question actually falls into the current political dynamic which we are moving on. Is that actually right now I think the presidential candidates are moving to the 6th day of campaigning since 29th. And now the preparedness depends on the role of each stakeholder. We have the voters. I believe the voters are very ready, but they are partially ready because always voters come in to vote basing on what the presidential candidates have actually put forward. So some of the presidential candidates haven't reached them. Some of them have not actually heard from them. So for the voters, they are partially ready to vote, but waiting to hear the message which they're expecting from their preferred presidential candidates. The Electoral Commission, I think it is ready because it is already in its roadmap, and it is there to guide here and there to see that actually the campaigns and also the voting is prepared very well. The police and the security, they are also ready, basing on how now they guide the presidential candidates only that there is somehow there is a way they do their work which is not balanced, whereby we see them actually doing so much on the candidates opposing the incumbent president and are doing less in case the incumbent is now moving to a certain area. For example, yesterday, Honorable Nandala Amuriat was in Jinja, where I come from, and the police actually gave us the routes. Yes, we used them, but they don't allow actually to move through towns and so on. So they make sure that actually they send you to places which are far away from the town, which we don't see it to the incumbent. So I thought that actually the readiness of the police should be balanced so that we can see we are not treating, or we should not treat President Museveni as the president of the Republic of Uganda in this case. However much, yes, he moves with it, that title, but we should also try actually to treat him as the presidential candidate, because now he's also a presidential candidate. But if you try now to treat him in a special way, then at least you create some biases and some hiccups here and there. The political parties, we saw that actually political parties prepared their presidential candidates. And right now what we are seeing on table is that each political party is trying actually to give, to fundraise, campaign, and also do those other things which require a presidential candidate to have in order to have a conducive campaign as far as the roadmap is concerned. So in that case, the gist of the matter which I wanted actually to bring out openly to the voters and the listeners is, as the voters and as the citizens of the Republic of Uganda, the readiness should be between now in October and December, because I believe between October and December, most of the presidential candidates would have reached at least 60% of the places of Uganda. Let us try to be keen. I'm just not comfortable with the way Ugandans vote, because in most cases Ugandans are not voting issues, but they are voting basing on the wave. They are voting basing on friendship, on colors and hatred. You understand? But if you try to analyze and try to critically follow the presidential candidate's message to see which presidential candidate suits your objectives, which presidential candidates actually matches what you require as a citizen of the Republic of Uganda. Literally, the voters actually have to start now voting. I was actually at UBC one time and I was telling the public that actually in Uganda, we don't understand political parties. We only actually follow political parties by color. I'm yellow, my father is yellow. I'm green, my father is green. There is a wave. So I think this time we need to go for the wave and so on, ignoring the pertinent issues of the message of the president. So if we are following political parties, right now I don't want actually to base our issues on political parties, because Ugandans don't understand political parties. Yet if I'm voting, for example, the FDC, I'm voting the norms and values of the FDC. Meaning that once the FDC becomes or leads this country, it is going to implement its values or the norms of the FDC. The reason why I'm not supporting FDC, it is because maybe their norms don't match with me and so on and so forth. But you find that actually we use a lot of hatred, we use a lot of wave and so on to determine whom to vote in the next National Delegates Conference. That's where now the problem is coming from, is coming. But I was at UBC. I tried to analyze the presidential candidates. I was analyzing actually the presidential candidates who were nominated on the second day, and Mandela was part of them. I followed actually how the presidential candidates who were nominated on the day one as well. But I want to tell the voters that the readiness for voting come 12th January should basically base on what exactly do you need. I tried to question most of the journalists, but I think it was an organization. It was actually, that's how it was organized. That the questions which were asked Honorable Nandala Mafabi, and the time which was spent asking Honorable Nandala Mafabi when he was nominating, it was actually the same time which would have been allocated to the President of the Republic of Uganda. Because for him, he has stayed for 40 years. For him, he's the one who is in power. So all these questions actually were going directly to the President of Uganda. But he just allowed only, I think, 3 questions, then he moved away. But we need now to start now comparing. If you want, for example, President Museveni, you need now to question. In 2021, you said reclaiming the future. In 2025, what has this reached? How have you reclaimed the future?
Securing the future.
Sorry, it is securing the future. Now, right now it is protecting the gains. So where are these gains? You understand? No, I'm just now trying to tickle the voters there. You understand? This is my personal, I have my personal opinion about the president, but the voters, I'm not in Adjumani, I'm not in Kitugum, I'm not in Chigezi. So the people there need now to analyze basing on what they need, basing on what they required in 2021, basing on what they have achieved so far, and basing on what they need after 2026 general elections. Okay. So in a nutshell, I think every stakeholder should be ready basing on the role which you are supposed to have in this general election. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Kilia. Dr. Patricia, I come to you. As I know you always guide, you always preach against wrongdoing, especially in societies. And as someone who has worked at the IGG, how prepared do you see Uganda, especially in ensuring transparency, accountability, and when we talk about fairness in the 2026 general elections that we're all jeering for?
Thank you very much, my brother Amon Buteega, and I would like to thank my fellow panelists here, Mr. Nathan Kazora and Kiria Ismail, for articulating the issues in respect to the readiness for elections. I would like to say that credible, free and fair elections are not just a political exercise. They're not just a political exercise, but they are the heartbeat of democracy in this country. They are special moments when the people speak, when the voices of millions converge into a single chorus of one voice. And without credible elections, you find that democracy becomes hollow, governance loses its legitimacy, and even public trust collapses. So as a country, I think we stand at the threshold of a significant chapter in our democratic journey in Uganda. And the year 2026 is not far away. And it will bring with it an election cycle that will span from our smallest local councils, local council 1, local council 2, local council 3, local council 5, to members of parliament, and ultimately the presidency. So when we talk about readiness, I think Ugandans are ready at heart, really. And they are thinking about it. And they are prepared to go and line up and cast that vote. Because you realize that these elections will shape the destiny of Uganda for the next generation. So going back to my previous work as former Deputy Inspector General of the government of Uganda, I think it's our collective duty as citizens to ensure that this democratic exercise is not corrupted at all. It is not abused and not manipulated, but instead conducted in a manner that reflects the true will of the people of Uganda. Many years ago, we were taught civics that democracy is about the people. Power by the people, decisions by the people, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So here we are looking at it being conducted in a manner that reflects the will of the people of Uganda. So to the fellow citizens out there, I think it's important for us to look at this election as not just a one-day affair, but a long and complex process, because it begins with nominations, it continues through campaigns. Of course, campaigns are now going on in the countryside, and peak on election day when millions line up to cast their vote, and extends to declarations of results and even to the resolution of disputes in the different courts of law. So I think it's very, very important for us to note that at every stage, government institutions are involved. And when they are involved, what is their role as government institutions? At every stage, you find that the resident district commissioners are involved, the district police commanders are involved, the district internal security officers are also involved, and everybody else is involved. The election officials, returning officers, security forces. So when we talk about readiness, are these institutions ready? Because for me, as someone who has worked with the Inspectorate of Government previously, I see that it is within these spaces that corruption and abuse of office can creep in through misuse of government vehicles, through embezzlement of funds, through voter bribery, through intimidation, or even manipulation of processes. And Amon, you realize that the hungry Ugandan, the hungry citizen, will not think beyond the next meal. And this is how the politicians take advantage of them to give them sugar, to give them soap, to give them 2,000 shillings or even 1,000 shillings. And we have seen this before, even in the previous elections, where there were reports of government vehicles being used in campaigns, where district funds were diverted for political activities, and even some instances, public officers openly favoring the incumbents. And these examples remind us that if they are left unchecked, such practices can distort the will of the people. And that is why it is important for the institutions of the state to play a critical role, especially on the road to these 2026 elections, to ensure that no public office and no public officer is used as a tool for unfair advantage. So for me, I think it is very important for us to look at it this way in terms of preparation. If we are talking about preparation, we need to look at the spaces that corruption and abuse of office can creep in. Are they prepared? We need to ensure that at every stage government institutions are involved. Are the institutions involved prepared? The RDCs, the DPCs, the DSOs, election officials, returning officers, security forces, are they ready? So if they are ready, then we'll say, yes, we are ready for the 2026 elections, because I know there are preparations going on in terms of what is happening in the political parties. Amon, if I said I knew, I would surely be lying, because when I left office a few days ago, I went away to Israel to pray for this country and to pray for myself as well, and to pray that elections go on smoothly. So I have not been keenly following what is happening in each political camp. But like my colleagues, my fellow panelists have said, I think everybody else is ready, and that is the reason why I can say with comfort that Ugandans are also prepared at heart, and they know who they are going to vote for and how they are going to vote. But I'm really urging Ugandans to vote for leadership of integrity, leaders who will not embarrass them, leaders who are accountable, leaders who don't just show up because they want the vote, but leaders who will offer service and quality service to the people, not leaders who will wait to be served, leaders who will demonstrate true servant leadership out there. Thank you very much.
Most welcome, Dr. Patricia there, always preaching against vices, especially when we talk about corruption. Thank you so very much. Kazora.
Yes, sir.
So many concerns coming up. You've heard from Kiri already that the ground is not yet leveled. Your candidate is given more opportunities compared to the other candidates. I don't know how you would address that.
Yes.
So many critics argue that sometimes your party uses state resources and security organs to its advantage. How do you respond to that?
But you see, President Museveni, all the constitution, the framers of 1995 constitution, put all these things on it. Anybody who breaches the law, then the hand of the law should touch on it. But I want first to respond to Mr. Kiria. Said Museveni should not be taken as a president when he's in campaign. Then since we have the law done here, might help us with an article, because me, I'm not a lawyer, that stops Museveni from being a president. I don't know whether now our constitution is like that, that when we are in campaign, Museveni is no longer the president. The lawyer will guide us on that. Another thing he said, that police doing so much on the opposition than on NRM. That's the only one thing. Why police is acting so much? You are the very people who always make it to be seen in that way. Because if they have told you, pass this way, and for you are saying, see, I'm supposed to be in Jinja town or city. Therefore, wherever, whichever corner of Jinja town I have to reach with all people, with moving with thousands and thousands of people. Therefore, you are disturbing other people who are not supporting you. They are doing their own businesses. They will be forced to close their offices and shops. That's the reason why police have to come in, because their role is to keep law and order. Of course, we saw electoral commission at the day of nomination. Briefing them, they told them the procession is not allowed. But we saw Chagulanyi the other time. From Kavri up to Jinja, up to Kamuri. You are causing accidents. People are losing their lives because we are in campaign. We have to castigate that one. If you don't want to see police stopping you, obey the rules that you have been given. Nobody is going to come and disorganize you, because we are in democratic process, democratic election. Therefore, there is no need of again pushing, fighting, killing. Those things nobody wants. Because obviously, for us, we are contented. We know our candidate is going to win. Therefore, we don't need again to see fighting. Even me, I want to see very, very good, smooth campaign. You go campaign, tell what you are going, before you even talk about Museveni. For him, when he's at his campaign rallies, he's talking about the service delivery. For you, when you are campaigning at your rallies, you are on Museveni. The problem is the dictator. We want to take away dictator. Then after taking dictator, what will you do for us? So that's the problem. The police always comes in when disobedience has been seen. So when you obey the rules, the guidance of the police, nobody will stop you. And the doctor said manipulation. Manipulation, of course, is talking about bribery, voters bribery. In primaries, most especially in our primaries, we saw people fighting each other, giving money so that they can get votes, and you have talked about it when we are starting. Political office is a service. But now, the problem is only one. I don't know it is intended or it is just happening in an unconditional way, an intentional way. But our politics is being commercialized. And I think it is intended, because if a road mayor of Kampala gets, when I sum up all the benefits, almost 80 million per month. So you think me, because I'm going to sit there and I have the same degree, or like the one of Mr. Okwawa, I think I have also to join the politics. So I think it is intended, and the only people who can reduce this fighting, this voter bribery, are the MPs.
But you go there and seek for votes and also call upon Uganda and support you without necessarily buying them or bribing them.
Even Mr. Kiria has talked about it. There is a tendency now, people are no longer voting wisdom. ideologies, better ideologies. They want to now follow wave. And that measure is found in opposition. I was on one TV even asked, when you measure the level of the MPs, NRM MPs compared to the opposition, you know. So for us, we are voting issues, ideas, the level of understanding. We should do. I urge all Ugandans, don't vote because I'm NRM and this NRM person is not capable for, is not able for the position. I cannot vote that person. I have to see what you are talking. Do you have the ability of being in that position? It's not just a matter of voting the car. So, but a good thing for us, we always select better candidates. Another thing I wanted to talk about are political parties. Political parties, some of them have been used as a special, sometimes even a NRM, special purpose vehicles, that it is a vehicle for one purpose. When this purpose has not yet reached, then that vehicle cannot move. Even NRM, you find when they are idle, they are doing nothing at Chadondo there, NRA, the other UPC and other parties, and that habit should change. Political parties must remain active. When now, for example, we are going to have election 2026. After 2026, you have to prepare again. But you find now some of the candidates are sounding than political parties. You find President Museveni traversing the whole country after being voted, checking PDM, checking Myoga, checking this. Of course, when he's doing so I urge political party workers to be active, to make their political parties active, so that it can. That's why when President Museveni finally, eventually, when he shows up himself, people vote him because they always hear him. They always see him giving service to delivery, and the government is ever in the people. And Mr. Chida was asking whether you're asking what was the slogan of the last son?
Securing the future.
Securing the future. Whether the future of the people is secured, they will say yes.
Okay.
Yes, or automatically. When you see each and every sector, when you go to industries, factories have increased. Okay. Even the economy stability is increasing. Everything is increasing. That one, of course, it assures our future.
Thank you. Thank you so
Even
much.
public data.
Let me answer him as by the way, you people, you always criticize, but I like mild criticism, not vehement. So you see, you are talking about public debt. These people are forgetting one thing, that a country which has most, the first, by the number one, with the higher indebted debts is Japan. But when we are seeing again, Japan is in the first position of the biggest economy. So the debt is not a problem. But when you have borrowed this money, even in the Ampaire here, all these so-called rich people are sitting on debts, but they are managing them. So our debts are being managed well. What is very bad is to borrow money and then one person takes it away. But when it goes on the services of the people, then there is no problem on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Information,
please.
Amon. I want actually to thank Comrade Kazora. But I just want to give him information that the readiness for these campaigns on each and every stakeholder should be based on ensuring a free and fair elections. That whatever you're doing, however much, whatever level you're becoming ready for the elections, you are ensuring that you are a free and fair elections. There is no violence, there is no what. So whatever you're going to do as a stakeholder is either going to lead us to a peaceful election or a violent election. When I come now to the issue of unbalanced security in now leaving the president doing this, then the other presidential candidate is doing this. Now that one only is creating bias in the public. For example, you are now saying that actually General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, as the presidential candidate, is supposed to do anything at liberty without any interference. And other presidential candidates, they don't have that liberty. So when in Ale Butong, he's at liberty to go in towns, to go where, to go where.
I beg to correct you.
No, I'm just giving. You're going to come in. When Honorable Nandala Mafavi is in a Lebutong, is limited to a certain specific area. You understand? So I'm just now driving this point to now. How is that act being treated in the public? Because the public may think that actually there may be some bias. If the Electoral Commission now, for example, is also doing things in a way where the public is going to be biased, now that one is going now to lead us to something else. So the readiness, stakeholder, Electoral Commission, voters, even the voters actually have a role. What you speak, what I speak here on the radio, can either cause peaceful election or violent election. What I speak to my voters, the presidential candidates now themselves, what I speak to your voters is either going to bring peaceful elections or violent elections. So the stakeholders need to ensure that actually whatever they are doing in their role specifically leads us to a peaceful, a fair elections. President Museveni, actually, I have actually spoken it several times. This year's elections, President Museveni is winning it by over 60%.
Why?
That one I don't even.
We thank you for that.
Disagree with any.
Why would you say that?
He's winning it with over 60%. If it is not 60%, the figure is just next to 60%.
Because he has worked for his
Why? People. It is because what we have done as the opposition, it is actually worse than what would have been choosing.
Could that be the reason as to why DP this time you don't front a presidential candidate?
It could be part of the reason, because now there is no way you can actually assure the public that you're presenting a presidential candidate who is also a minister in the government of President Museveni. It doesn't actually sound really somehow knowledgeable. You understand?
We have seen also political party leaders, and I think Robert Chagulanyi did mention, and so many others, even Dr. Besji at one time mentioned it, that it is not good to participate in general elections whereby the president is still in and choosing the Electoral Commission chairperson and so very many others. But my own question is to you, the opposition parties. You always come through again and repeatedly enter into these elections knowing that the playing field is uneven. Why do you keep participating in a process you call frauded?
Now, it is because now the politics of Uganda has now become a politics. It has actually been joined by many mediocres. You know, when we left the 2021 elections...
Mediocres from government, mediocres from opposition.
No, mediocres as the political players. You understand? Those leading political parties, those the voters, the what. There are so many mediocre in the politics of Uganda. When we left the 2021 elections, the leader of opposition, the leading opposition political party, came out saying there were no fairness. We can't go back in the elections because of they called we need actually to review the electoral guidelines, we need to review the constitution and so on. For the last 5 years, they have not tabled any bill. You understand? As far as what they had talked about before. And they are the same people now coming back saying that we are going to remove President Museveni. When the issues they complained about in the elections, they are still existing. That's why I'm saying that there is a lot of mediocrity in Ugandan politics. Now, that's the reason why you find that actually most of the political parties have lost value in the eyes of the voters and the citizens. Because I can actually request you, Amon, to try and now to critically analyze each and every political party. Whatever we are choosing President Museveni, let me say for example, the issue of fundamental human rights, violation of fundamental human rights in the country. Koilon is on security part. You understand? But fundamental human rights, it is a very big field. It's about freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of doing so many things. You understand? Now, leaving the security because you don't have it as the opposition. These other human rights, how have you treated them in your internal politics? It is what we should now base on to say that actually political party A is better than NRM. You understand?
I've seen also
now,
some
yes.
analysts say that people are blaming the Kazoras in the end how they conducted their primaries, but at least they had primaries, and I think it is Honorable Chwanda who was saying that at least for us we had primaries, and people can comment about them whether they were good or bad. But did NUP or other political parties conduct primaries according to what they saw as cards were given out?
One time I even asked, what does the word people power mean? Does it only apply when you're going to the general elections and it doesn't apply in your internal politics? You're saying that actually we are going for the people should decide. Then on the party ticket where there are 2-3 people, you are sitting 5 people to decide on behalf of the 30-40 voters, and that one it is okay. You understand? So that's the reason I'm saying that actually why President Museveni is winning now is having actually a landslide victory in this year's election. It is because now what we have lamented on for the last 40 years, we are again doing them worse than President Museveni. Thank you.
Interesting. Our dear listener, this is UBC Ground Zero, and you can always participate. You can send your messages or call us on 776-511-426 and tell us what you think on the topic, the readiness of Uganda as we are up for the general polls 2026, and also looking back on what we have had in the last election cycles. Every time we have campaigns, violence, bribery, and so very many others. We don't want to see really people losing their lives. We don't want to see people being imprisoned or jailed or arrested. We don't want to see people fighting, and instead of engaging into a very good exercise where we're going to be choosing our leaders for the next generation, for the next 5 years, and we're nowhere to be seen because we were killed in the campaigns, because we were arrested in the campaigns, and I want to see how that can shape our politics. Before I take a very short break, I want to come to you, Doctor, again, and you talk to the Ugandans directly without fear or favor on looking at institutions reform, which would make the biggest difference, especially ensuring that 2026 are free and fair, and what needs to be really given much attention, what needs to be done.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buteega. I think it's very important for us to stick to the objectives for the elections, which are basically fourfold, than concentrate more into lamentations, because you realize that political parties will always have their complaints for what they have failed to do, for what they have done, and so on. Ideally, political parties should be training ground for leaders. Political parties should articulate issues. They should be able to come up with policies. They should be able to offer representation of the people. But when they fail, then they begin to blame the ruling party. But elections, for me, I think we need to look at its objectives. One as prevention, which basically involves the stakeholders working tirelessly to prevent corruption, to prevent maladministration and abuse of office even before they occur. Because when they occur, then we are dealing with post-mortem. Then the other bit is transparency. It is important to promote openness even in the use of government resources, from vehicles to personnel and financial allocations, so that everybody knows who has gotten what amount of money and how are they using it. Then it's also important for us to look at it from the perspective of civic empowerment. And this involves conducting nationwide sensitization campaigns so that every citizen knows what their rights are, so that every citizen understands the dangers of corruption in elections, and so that every citizen basically feels empowered to report wrongdoing. And the fourth one I want to talk about here is accountability. that the institutions responsible should be able to investigate, to arrest, to prosecute those who misuse public office for political gain, and swiftly and also decisively. So I think when we look at these 4 objectives and the responsible institutions are empowered and resourced to carry out these objectives, I think we would then say we are actually ready. Then I think it's important to bring these objectives to life. It is important to support the institution I worked for previously so that they can be able to have the nationwide anti-corruption sensitization campaigns, because I note that even in the past elections, the Inspectorate of Government was able to do these activities. They were able to carry out these objectives and brought these objectives to life through the nationwide sensitization campaigns. We saw communities exchange their votes for bags of sugar, packets of salt, or even small amounts of money. But such acts may seem harmless in the moment, but the cost is immense, because it will result into poor services, mismanagement of resources, and leaders who lack integrity. When leaders who lack integrity get positions of responsibility, they mess up the country. That is why I'm calling out to listeners out there to vote for leaders of integrity, leaders who will promote trust, leaders who will offer free and true representation of the people. Because this time it's important to remind both candidates and voters that true democracy cannot be bought, but they need to demonstrate it by their own actions. And then it's important also again to monitor the Inspectorate of to empower the Inspectorate of Government so that they're able to monitor the use of state resources, because you realize that even in the earlier elections there were complaints that were raised, general complaints about some police officers who were deployed for partisan reasons. So it's important for the IG to work with security agencies to ensure that officers remain neutral as possible and professional, because you realize that even government vehicles and public funds must serve all Ugandans, not the personal ambitions of a few individuals. Then it's important to promote also partnership and strategic alliances with key institutions like the Electoral Commission, the Uganda Police Force, the Directorate for Public Prosecution, the civil society organizations, the media, and religious institutions. Because in 2021, for example, this collaboration with the civil society observers provided valuable evidence of what was happening on ground, which basically guided the corrective action. So it's important to strengthen such partnership even for 2026. And then it's also important to establish the election integrity monitoring desks. And I think this is basically for the Electoral Commission. We need these integrity desks, because in the past elections you realize citizens complained that they did not know where to report corruption, or what their reports, whether their reports were being ignored or handled. So this time around the corner, it's important that we have the toll-free hotlines, dedicated desks that will ensure that every report is captured and acted upon swiftly. So I think it's important basically to empower the institutions of government to be able to handle their responsibilities very well, and empowering them means that giving them resources to be able to offer meaningful contribution through participating in these elections. And it's important also that these institutions are given the resources. For instance, if the IG can assemble a special team of prosecutors to handle election-related corruption cases, I think this will be very, very important, because I see determination that election offenses will be addressed in real time. And to address these election offenses in real time, the institutions require to be resourced, require to be empowered. Thank you very much.
Most welcome, Deputy IGG, former, and we've been joined by Commissioner, Office of the President, Fred Bamwine. A big privilege and honor to have you, sir.
Thank you so much. Good morning, listeners and viewers. Good morning, my colleagues in my phone here. I want to congratulate Ugandans for having reached the level of screening and nominating their presidential candidates. And we think that that is not a small milestone.
Okay.
Because one by one makes a bundle.
Indeed, and now we are looking at the campaign trail that has started already, and we are looking at Uganda's readiness for the general polls come 2026. How prepared are Ugandans? How prepared are you as government? You always promise free and fair elections, but from our discussion and from what critics say, especially from opposition, they often complain about harassment, intimidation. How do you reconcile this contradiction?
You see, there are certain things that I don't agree with. I had your question is saying, how are you prepared as government? I thought the question should be, how are we prepared as a country? Because you also belong to Uganda. Two, those who have been following events in this country, for the first time, Electoral Commission in 2021, August, it released a roadmap. 2021 August, Electoral Commission released a roadmap leading 2026. The challenge with Ugandans is that we are used to reading headlines. People don't tend to go into detail to understand what is taking place. So from 2021 to now, Electoral Commission has been having a series of events. So elections is not a one-day affair, but it is a prolonged procedure with various events, which is going to be culminated into voting the president and other government agencies. So the country is ready to go into elections. But to me, also what challenges me, there is this singer, has a Chiganda song, Abatasi Gansiku, Walinza Makungura. I don't know the singer.
By Chameleon, I think.
Chameleon?
Yes, just a
that
Chameleon.
Those who didn't plant, but they did not plant anything, but they are ready and celebrating to harvest. How do you talk about intimidation, talk about harassment, when you yourself, that's what you are preaching? Those who are lawyers, they say when you come to law or to justice, you must come with a pair of clean hands. But you are here. I saw one presidential candidate, Chagulanyi, when he was nominated. He said the war has begun. Those who are not ready to die should not get involved. Those who are not ready to be imprisoned should get out. Those who are not ready to shout. How? I thought and I understand that the reasons why people are nominated to canvass for votes is specifically to say there is this government which has been doing ABCD, but for us, when we come, we shall have these ideas which are better than these ones, which we call superior ideas. But now you are given a platform to go and convince Ugandans to support you, and for you are promising war. Even they went to the extent of saying Prime 7 has a chance to repent and be forgiven. You see, they say when you point one finger to another person, you should not forget that the three are facing you. So you cannot expect democracy where there are no Democrats. So that's one line. And I want to appeal to all those who are involved in presidential campaigns and other campaigns. Please, let us stop from building radicalism within our supporters. Because there are people like now we are here, there are those who have said, now that the winner has said this, that's what we must do. You may call them fanatics, you may call them your fans. They don't bother. Who has said it? Bamwina is on the radio. He has said it. They start there and then. So as leaders, we must be responsible of our actions, of our conduct, of our behavior, and of our communication. The Bible, I'm not a Christian, but I read the Bible. The Bible, I think in the book of James, it says a tongue is like it's a matchbox, a stick of matchbox. It is very small, but it can burn the whole forest. Equally, tongue, the words we push out, can inflame the country. Therefore, I want to appeal to everybody, yes, we are in presidential campaigns, but it's not true that we are in war. We are in campaigns to elect leaders, and not only leaders, but quality, responsible leaders that can move this country from where we are to greater heights. For instance, I've read the manifesto of NRM, and they are saying protecting the gains as a leap forward for qualitative leap to upper middle income status. So this is what the NRM is saying, 2040, the country should have $500 million economy. Now, if you are saying these ones are not okay, what is your program? What's your idea about education? Because the NRM one is saying in the next term, it will be compulsory in government schools to make sure that children study for free. So those who are challenging NRM, what is your superior idea about education? The NRM is saying children who are out of school for 2 years without employment, there's going to be a provision for seed capital, cheap seed capital for them to be able also to go and get involved in the participation of the economy. The NRM is saying that in the continuous in the next 5 years, household income, job creation are the key drivers to this country, such that everybody can participate in the development of this country to upper middle income status. So those who are opposed should have ideas. Say for us on the economy, our idea is this one, and therefore we are better off than the other one. You should support us. I went to the presidential launch campaign of NRM, and they are saying in the PDM they have identified that there are 3 categories that were not considered. Leaders, that is LC1, LC2, LC3, they are not supposed to benefit from this PDM program. But they're also Ugandans, and they want to develop. So the NRM is promising that they're going to put 15 million per parish specifically for leaders. They have also identified that traditional leaders are also not being catered for in this development and making sure that everybody is participating in the economy. And they are proposing that they're going to sit with traditional leaders and provide a fund for them. Because the intention is very simple, that all of us, 25 million Ugandans who are able-bodied, should get involved in generating income and production for our families, for ourselves, and the development of the country. They have also identified religious leaders. You know how many religious leaders we have in this country, and you know how much they are believed. So if you have an economic program which does not involve them, you'll find that the message, even their messages, will not be perfect. So they are saying we must have a fund for religious leaders, an economic fund for religious leaders to get involved in the production process of this country. So it's a package, it's a lot of issues. Life expectancy. NRM came when people are dying at 43 years. Now the life expectancy, according to UBOS, it has gone at 68. When you talk of poverty levels, have dropped to 33%. Household income, poverty levels, 21% household income. Those who are still not yet in money economy, 33%. So we are making progression. So to me, whether we are ready, the country is ready for elections, we are prepared for the next 5 years, and therefore voting is going to take place next year. 2, whether the issues of intimidation, harassment, Fortunately, I have been a leader around for some time. Last elections, I was in Mukono. And I saw how people can take poison knowing that this is poison. When there was riots of the Kayum, of the Ruuka, I had my DPC, we sat as security, we said, what do we do? People are burning the town, they are blocking the roads, they are beating people. I had the DPC said, no, we should not tear gas these people. Let us go and engage them. Then I had another person of the security team said, no, you cannot talk to people who are rowdy and who are ready to kill. So what we decided, we divided the forces into 3. Now the DPC went to Seta. As he had started engaging them, a boy picked a stone and hit his head. But this DPC you are hitting, he's escorted with almost 100 policemen. So if you are not really mad, isn't that taking poison? Fortunately, the DPC had a helmet. He was not injured a lot. So that's when we had to decide to use tear gas. Now, you cannot be the same person now saying we are being harassed. What are you preaching? Can we have a message of peace across all the candidates? Can we have a message that prepares the country that is not a hate speech? If you are looking for votes for your candidate or for yourself, why do you have to go and character assassinate your colleague? Why do you do provocation to security agencies? Because these ones, security agencies, for instance, police, a policeman moves with a gun, he moves with his bayonet on the gun, he has handcuffs, and he has cells. All those are not items for decoration.
Are you saying that sometimes we provoke security
personnel? Not at times. In fact, at times may I disagree with my leader, President Museveni. He brought too much freedom. And people have misused it. They want to talk of freedom without talking responsibility. So it's not that at times too much freedom. And I think it is in the Bible, which destroyed Rome. You remember when Jesus found people making the church into a market? What he did?
But
Jesus.
That was not a freedom. They were sinning.
So my appeal is that if you want to have to be treated well, also you treat others very well.
Fred, there is also a serious concern that people say that there is a line between state resources and party resources in Uganda is often blurred. And if we can talk to those that to assure them that Uganda in 2026 government machinery will not be used in to lead or the playing field, because we have seen members of parliament using government vehicles, using even the security they are given, even some government officials do the same, and people say that this is not leveled ground, especially when we come into the campaigns.
But you see, I want to appeal to Ugandans to stop being lazy. Some of us, like when I come to this station, I hope we shall get chorus or what. I don't come claiming that I know everything. I know there are other Ugandans who are even clever than me, and I should be able to learn from them. How can the ground be leveled? When the framers of the Constitution 1995 provided that a sitting president during campaign time, he will remain a president.
That's what I was saying.
So, that is something that it is in our constitution since 1995. I have not seen any attempts to amend it. So, you must admit that our laws agree.
And yet the same law says that all public servants, especially when you want to vie for any political position, you resign.
You resign and go. But for the president,
you remain.
They refused him. And all of us Ugandans, we are seeing this. Others are lawyers, others are academicians, and even those who are lawyers who are in opposition. I have not seen any attempt to challenge that. Two,
I am comfortable with the position of the law.
Indeed.
The law is comfortable with the position of the law. So, really, if you know that it does exist, it doesn't make us good to start self-raping. But also, when you talk of state resources and party resources, I also have to make a distinction. There is a general belief in some Ugandans that during campaign, government closes. No, during campaign, government remains working. As you go to look for your votes, there are those who are coming to work on UBC. So they don't, whether you are in your campaigns, you must leave this road open for them to go to work and do other activities. Others are going to markets, others are going to shops. So the element and thinking that because you are a candidate, therefore you sidestep the law, therefore you cannot be guided, that is also a wrong and an illusion. Therefore, during a campaign remains working, but parties also use their own resources within their parties, provided, because during campaign, all those candidates are of election commission. It is the election commission responsible for their programs and resources anyway. But same on the same vein, whether the ground level is leveled or not, I'm also concerned, what are you promising? You have given us this opportunity here. If I was a candidate, or if I was a campaign manager of somebody, I must, like for instance, me, I am appointed by President Museveni. So I do not want to come and pretend here that President Museveni, his message now, he has said, yes, we have done A, B, C, D, but we have already now laid the foundation for a country takeoff to upper middle income status. Which are those foundations? Manufacturing sector is going on very well. Industrialization is going on very well. Power generation has been consolidated. Peace and security.
Are those the gains that we...
Yes, we must protect jealously. But at the same time, use them to move forward. If you are saying that 1.5 million Ugandans now, they work in factories, and he's saying the next 5 years, at least we should have 5 million Ugandans in manufacturing and industrialization. And they are promising that the country now is going to make sure to have a science-oriented economy. Therefore, emphasis is on science teaching to be able to support innovation and manufacturing. So all this, I must be able to tell the country that not until we have got somebody with better ideas than these ones, then we better move with this one. Okay. But at the end of the day, I want to appeal to Ugandans. We should not forget that elections are going to end next year. And Uganda is going to be here in long, many times to come. Therefore, whatever you do, whatever you think, make sure that you are thinking and doing those activities that can prepare Uganda from where we are into a better situation or a middle upper income status. So to me, I think we are ready, we are prepared, and those who are looking for votes should also make sure that they don't take the public for granted, should give us messages which can be better to prosper this country. I am my colleague, I found her speaking, and I want to divert from her views regarding corruption. My views about corruption are very, very different. Because once you have Article 29 or 28, which says that even if you get me red-handed with $1 trillion shillings for a project, I'm a suspect, then there I get a problem. And this suspect, with that amount of money stolen, it is his right to go to court even and get bail. But money stolen, and it has gone. Actually, in all criminal cases, even when I strangle somebody here in the studio, when people are seeing me,
still considered innocent.
I am a suspect. It is a that I have killed.
And you're innocent
until proved guilty or when I confess.
Others in some countries, they are guilty until they are proved.
Me, I think we need to say this man is guilty. Let him predict by himself. And two, what are the legal regime in regard to criminal justice? You can have a case of corruption which can go for about 15 years. But money was stolen long ago. Can't we make a legal regime and we change such that if anybody is alleged of either corruption or murder or something, the case should have timeline.
Okay.
Maybe 5 months, maybe 1 year, has been had, prosecuted, and convicted, and the sentence is given. Now, also, during that time, this person should not be given bail, such that in case he wins a case against the state, he can be compensated. But somebody has stolen a trillion shilling, and you allow him to walk on Kampala Road, and you expect to give him a conviction to kill him. When he has this money, it is not possible. Two, I'm looking at the sentences. Those who are Muslims, they know that in those Arab states, once you steal something, they cut off this hand which was used to steal.
Do we borrow the same idea here?
Even harsher than that. we must make corruption very risky. Now, how do you think that if voters are going to elect people who are credible, with integrity, when they themselves, when somebody comes and speaks, this man Bamwine is a good, he can even debate in parliament, but his problem, he doesn't give anything. They admitted that we have the qualities, but if you cannot buy waraji, if you cannot buy those goodies or sweeteners, they will not give you the vote. So corruption starts from there. They themselves are corrupt. They are not of integrity, and then it spreads likewise. So really, I think in terms of corruption, if we are to end it quickly, we need to take back and go in the boardroom and say which kind of laws do we need to adapt to make sure that we make corruption zero, or integrity or be restored to zero.
Okay.
You know, the Africans' way of dealing with crimes, it was very brutal and ruthless. So to me, the more we go to the Western, the more we lose it. So corruption, I think almost everybody in his thinking, you find that even the ideas are corrupted. So we need to have a thorough conversation in this matter.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you so very much.
To respond.
And yet in a minute as I take a break. Okay.
Yes. When Fande Fred Bamwine walked in, I was making submissions on the objectives of elections. And I basically did talk about the prevention, transparency, civic empowerment, and accountability. And I was saying to bring these objectives to life, it's important that the key institutions are supported to do their work, and encouraged nationwide anti-corruption sensitization campaigns, because in the past elections, we saw that communities were taken advantage of, where they exchanged their votes for bags of sugar, packets of salt, and we know that voter bribery does take place. And you know how complicated it is to deal with bribery, because voters normally give something to, the campaign people, candidates give something to the voters, and you find that the hungry human being will not think beyond the next meal. But when you talk about dealing with corruption in elections, because we see that corruption happens through these spaces, and abuse of office also creeps in through misuse of government vehicles, embezzlement of funds, voter bribery, intimidation and manipulation. But the institutions need to have their heads up to handle these issues, and the institutions need to be facilitated to be able to carry out their responsibilities, especially the Inspectorate of Government. Actually, you came in when I was saying it's important that the Inspectorate of Government is resourced to participate effectively in these elections, because you realize that during elections, that is when issues of integrity, election integrity comes up, and there is need for us to even have the integrity monitoring desks all over the country, so that they be able to handle these cases adequately and in a timely manner. I'll conclude by mentioning something on the bail. The bail you did mention, and in respect to the bribery. You know how difficult it is to prove a bribe, because it's a willing giver and willing recipient. And for us, normally in the Inspectorate of Government, where I previously worked, to find somebody who has committed an offense of bribery, in the course of investigations, you later on discover that that person has come out as a whistleblower, but it was part of the deal. Yes. When the deal went sour and didn't get part of what he needed, then he comes around wearing the jacket of a whistleblower. And then we are put in a corner to make this person a state witness, because he has credible information which will help support your prosecution case. So it is quite challenging. And when you talk about revising the anti-corruption laws, I think it's very important that we think objectively towards doing that, because corruption keeps evolving over times. So I think all the laws will need to be reviewed and penalties made harsher, so that people are actually discouraged from taking part in this. People are deterred from taking part in corruption-related offenses. But I thank you very much for bringing this to light. Okay. It's very, very important for us to look at things quite objectively, like the way you have guided. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Patricia and Fred Bamwine Avande. I'm taking a very short break, and when I return, Ground Zero is returning just a bit, and after the break, I'll be picking your calls and reading out your messages. I can see so many messages already coming in. I want to thank you, dear listener, for being part of the program. 0776 511 426 is the number you can call, or keep sending your messages. 0776 511 426. Ground Zero takes a very short break. I'm coming back in just a bit. I pray you don't go away.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza muganda kito okugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people, so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza, naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC Radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It's hot.
We passed it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customer tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
On Thursday, 9th October 2025, Uganda will proudly celebrate 63 years of independence, commemorating the nation's historic freedom from British rule on 9th October 1962. This year's national celebrations will be held at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds under the inspiring theme, 63 years of independence, a reason to double our efforts in sustaining a united and progressive nation. The event will be presided over by His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Tune in to UBC radio stations nationwide and all our broadcast networks to follow the celebrations live, loud and clear. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Ground Zero continues, and welcome back from that very short break. Ampaire Amon of Buteega is my name, and in the studios of UBC, I have a very special team of guests, and we're discussing the campaign trail begins, Uganda's readiness for the general polls come 2026. I do have a big privilege and honor to have Dr. Patricia Chan Okiria is the former Deputy IGG, Fred Bamwine, Commissioner from Office of the President, Kiria Ismail is the member of a Democratic Party and coming from the Youth League, or you call it UYD, President Emeritus. 776-511-426. Tell us what you think. You're live on UBC Ground Zero. Ground Zero, you're live and clear on UBC radios.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation.
Most welcome, sir. Your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Kamwada William Harvey. I'm calling from Buteega district.
Thank you, sir.
In eastern Uganda.
Thank you, sir.
I was looking at your theme, Uganda's readiness for 2026 elections. What I would first of all want to say is to thank the Deputy IGG for the good work she's doing.
Okay.
To curb corruption in the country.
Thank you.
And Africa at large. Secondly, I also want to thank, I knew Mr. Bamwine as a RDC. Now I know he's a commissioner. He has also done good work. But what I would want the government to do is to have a leveled ground. He talked about most government officials having cars and the president having the immunity, I would say, having all his convoys with him while the other candidates don't have. I wish the law could be looked at to adjust that so that the next time any other president comes, the office can be handed to either the speaker or any other person, or it should be left vacant to have the leveled ground.
Okay.
But most importantly, my thanks goes to the IGG. She has done great work, and I pray she continues with her same work, because most of the work has been really tackled. Just like you saw the other day in Western Uganda, then the other day in the north, the other day in the east, she has worked immensely to do that. So my word is thank you, Deputy IGG, for the good work you're doing.
Okay. Thank you so very much, and the people of Dhaka and so many parts in the eastern Uganda, we do love and appreciate that you're always part of UBC Ground Zero.
Thank you.
All right. 776-511-426 is the number you can call and share your comments or perspectives. You can as well raise your concerns to be addressed by my guests in the studios of UBC. You're live on radio?
Yes, Amon. You are live from Buteega. I'm Juma calling today.
Thank you, sir.
Greetings to all other audience.
They are listening.
And, the panelists.
Okay.
For God and our country. Down on the road. Among the first manifesto of His Excellency Yoweri Museveni Kaguta, corruption was among the 10 manifesto to serve this country and to make sure Uganda is free from corruption. Because him too has been accusing the late Idi Amin, the late Milton Obote, they were corrupt. Now he himself already 40 years in power. Corruption instead has gained more taproot. If you have government officials not very far, Karamoja Iron Sheep, evidences were there, and the culprits were those ones who have access to the human resource. Maybe only two who at least made statement properly from Luzira, and they were released on bond within a very short time. That's why we as citizens, we have lost hope into this regime when it comes to corruption issues. Number two, fundamentally, has been saying, if any government official got found corrupt, the good thing they're using those money they are picking in from government within our country here, so he has no problem because they're not investing those corrupt money outside the country like Uganda. Then you ask yourself, are we genuinely moving forward? Second point, IGP has been left alone on her own shoulder to fight for the country as far as corruption is concerned. Every year, IGG releases lists how money of government has been swindled or embezzled, but who is this person or which office reliable or responsible for charging and bringing those corrupt officials to the book? Okay. That's the only link. The DPP is not doing enough. Amon, you add me more to me that. Education.
I'm worried that time is not on my side. I would request your parting shots, because I
want to give chance to others. My parting shot. Okay, let me give it as a tip. You will help us educate more about education because our teachers they are still on strike. And then we go to health. Health today, you want to seek for services. As far as your health is concerned, you will find government hospitals, no medicine. They will refer you to a clinic, and then all of the clinic is still working with the government.
Okay.
And yet these things of government for free. Okay.
Thank you.
Poverty rate, security is favoring the regime. So
Thank
anyway,
you,
because of time, I wish you the best. Thank you.
Indeed, because of time, we always give very few minutes that we give a chance to others also to share their views and also come back to studios that will be able to address some of those concerns. And I also want to create time for messages. You're live on radio.
Hello?
You're live on radio. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Yes, my name is Oboko Rogers. I'm calling from Leira City.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, and I'm also the chairperson of NEED, Leira City. NEED stands for National Economic Empowerment Dialogue, which is one of the registered political parties in Uganda.
Interesting.
Yeah. One, the officer in the studio is right. There are some economic policies that NRM-led government do comes out with it. Why? First of all, people do say that NRM government, they should be saying NRM-led government because parliament is an arm of government. It contains opposition members, and so the correct English is NRM-led. Like the PDM, I happen to be a leader of an enterprise group. But in our circle, across the country, I think there is a lot of corruption with it. A circle leader will ask you, give me 10 for profiling. Give me 10 for this. By the time you're getting, you'll find that you will have spent 200 or 300,000. The biggest problem which the government is part of, NRM-led government is part of that corruption. Why?
But I think this is supposed to be a free service and a free government program that people and Ugandans should access it for free. Have you reported such cases to any of the authorities?
I have reported, but if government could help and come up with a clear guideline as per their term of office.
Okay.
When you ask the RDC, how will these people be as the circle leaders? When is going to be in position to elect another set of people?
Thank you.
The
Thank you,
RDC
sir.
even can't answer.
Your last
Nobody
comment,
can't answer. That means that makes them very powerful to handle.
Thank you,
Because
sir. Sorry for the time. Time is not really on our side. Some still calling in, and we always want to give chance to so very many that they may share also their perspective. I want to say that for the remaining, please just use a few seconds, your name and where you're calling us from, and also your concern.
Hello.
You're live on radio. Your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm Haji Hireme from Mbale.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
First and foremost, I want to thank the former Deputy IGG.
Thank you, sir.
Attendance work has been doing for this country, and we pray that she continues, although she hasn't been given back the office as of now, but she continues with that spirit of fighting corruption, doing the work with one heart, because she's a person who has no side. He does her work straight. He has given lectures to children in institutions regarding corruption. So we pray that she continues with that spirit.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm Haji.
Oh, sorry. But Haji is coming from Mbale there joining us and also recommending the good work so that the Dr. Patricia is able to accomplish. Your last caller? Our last caller? Okay, I'll give one last caller, but if I can take just a few seconds to go some of the messages. Chris Molorwa says that if voters perceive the process as unfair, what risks does that pose to Uganda's stability, and how is government preparing to address that, and how I wish Bamwene to answer my concern. That is Chris Molorwa there. You're live on radio?
Yes, fine. Yes, this was calling back to Dokoro.
You're calling from Dokoro. All right. Your concern, sir?
Yes. May I have some questions?
Please.
As I'm asking our chairperson NRM from the studio.
Thank you.
Why is it sometimes if assuming now Bob Wine is coming in Dokoro here, you find when they are deployed army to beat people who are supporting Bob Wine. But why is it if President Museveni is coming, they cannot beat on people? And also my also information to our voters. I was telling them, let us not vote because of money. Let us not vote because of hearing. Let us vote because of development.
Thank you, sir. That's a very good call. Action to all of us. All right. I read a message from Chris Morora. Then Benjamin Okello says that the opposition is not really organized, and indeed we do not have opposition in Uganda. We only have opportunist politicians who are working for themselves, not far from the current government that they are battling. Thank you, Benjamin Okello. Your last one?
Hello?
You're live and clear? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for that fantastic program.
Most welcome, sir.
My contribution on this subject, however, is one that there is an implementation challenge in the country, and that's all. We have enough policies, we have many officers and technical officers, a lot of reports come from IGG and other departments of the police, but implementation, I think, is the only challenge remaining now. And so if we improve on implementation, how to improve? Because IGG, for example, there is a report, that's not them to understand all this. It is implementation level now. So who is supposed to implement remains the question. And second, the concern about on the side of the politics, I'm really concerned that we have been promoting gender. But now I can see only 8 presidential candidates, not a single woman. Up to now, I don't know. I want to hear from experts. What do they think? Not a single woman, not a single girl. Pass through the contest for the presidency. That's my. I want to hear from experts. What do they talk about the issue of gender in this country? Thank you very much. I mean, Henry Baguma.
I'm also concerned that we haven't had any girl or woman calling in this program, as if we have had only men listening in. And time is not really on my side, but I have to go back to the studios. But so very many messages still coming in and addressed to the IGG, Bamwine, and also opposition, represented by Kiria Ismail here. If I can go back to the studios for my guests to be able to address these concerns, I'll start with Bamwine, Doctor, and then Kiria there.
I want to take this opportunity to thank those who have managed to contribute, and even those who are listening, or even those who attempted to call, they were not through, because that gives a good feedback that the program is making an impact in the population. There's one, I think, from Buteega who talked about NRM to eliminate corruption in 10-point program. Yes, it was the number 10-point program, and you need to look since then to date what has happened. One, the Office of Inspectorate of Government, where Doctor has been working, is one of the foundations of this government. In an effort to tackle corruption and other abuses of office. And now at least IGG is an established office with the mandate in the Constitution. They may not be on top of the game, but at least what's remaining is to continue adding on some fresh, such that they can be much tighter, they can start biting more, but at least the institution is there, which was not there initially. Two, you have had anti-corruption court. Initially, court was mixed, doing all cases together, but now, with the effort of government, is an established court specifically to deal with corruption. Four, within the Constitution 1995 as amended, there is an institution of DPP, Directorate of Public Prosecution, who is independent. That office is also a pillar in prosecuting those who are involved in these kind of cases. And all these are institutions that were not there before that have been put in place by this government. Three, there is anti-corruption committees, let me call them committees. There is an anti-corruption committee, PAC, Public Accounts Committee in Parliament. There is Equal Opportunities Commission. There is PAC in districts. Every government has a PAC committee. There is inspectorate departments in government agencies. All institutions were not there, and they are out of an effort of this government to make sure they are around. The other issue is the media. Gone are the days that government officers could not be talked about. The mere fact that we are on about 6 radios now, as we speak, talking about corruption, it's a huge achievement to reawaken the population, such that people can know that corruption is bad, and it drains development, it sabotages the development and inequalities in the country, such that people can be aware and conscientized. This is of the free media space. We have also the law, which is Public Information Act, whereby when you want any information from any government agency, it is by law. Nobody can stop you from getting it. So all these are some of the, of course you have heard about anti-corruption unit in the State House. That tells you that even the leadership is saying, yes, we have done this, but it's not yet enough. So to me, the foundation has been made.
Okay.
What's remaining is first of all, the legal regime, to reform the legal regime so that it can match with the changing trends. Two, within the legal regime, also we must look at the punishments, at the time spent in prosecuting these cases, such that there can be justice. I think Mr. Baguma mentioned about the implementation. Yes, implementation is there, but the challenge with implementation, these laws from the white, they give you with the left hand, then they remove you with the right. For instance, they allow you to arrest the corrupt, but at the same, the corrupt is also their right to get bail. Okay. So it takes two to tango. So I think as a country, we need to go in the boardroom and ask ourselves, what kind of laws do we need that fit in this country? And also look at the accelerated development that was going to shift this country to higher status.
Interesting. Time is not on my side. If I can have Kiria first and then a doctor, but as we will give your concern, address this concern, parting shots as well, because time is not on our side. Kiria?
I also want to thank the callers. Time is not on our side, but my response was drawing from Afande Bamwine's first remarks. I don't know whether you were the Afande Bamwine who was in Ginger as the RDC.
I'm the one.
You're the one. Actually, your name stuck into my mind. I was a very young man. I think, in primary. The day you came and spoke to the rioters,
yes,
at Readiness Road, that junction which over Readiness Road and Clive Road. I don't know whether you remember that day. But that has now reflected on what you have been actually speaking about. But before coming, I was actually trying to tell you that actually in Uganda, Ugandan politics has now been infested with the mediocres. We don't mean what we say. And I was telling my fellow panelists that actually the reason why President Museveni this time is going to win by over 60%, or a figure which is just next to 60%, it is because what we have been accusing him for the last 40 years, again for us we are doing them worse than him. You understand? You, Mr. Kamwada from Abudaka, has talked about the having a leveled ground as far as security is concerned when the political presidential candidates actually are moving around. But we have been having the opposition since 2006, a strong opposition. But we have not had any person who came out to trim the wings of the president. He remains the same person even if he is a presidential candidate. In 2021, when we have just left election, people were speaking about electoral reforms since 2021. But I didn't see the party which is leading opposition to go and table the electoral reforms in parliament. And they're the same people who are now coming back to say that they are going to challenge President Museveni and so on. So I think we need now to come up to the drawing table. And we, as the opposition and the government, we see the way forward. Because now what I'm seeing now is that actually most of the political parties, political party players, they are now positioning themselves for transition. By the way, don't think that actually every person who has become a presidential candidate actually is serious to remove President Museveni. Okay. But they are just positioning themselves to be in the transition and so on. So time is not on our side, but I think to make our politics so much meaningful, we need now to start or to go back to the drawing board to see how best we can now start playing politics in Uganda. Thank you.
Dr. Kiria.
Thank you very much. I will not repeat what my colleagues have said, but I would like to appreciate the callers for the appreciation messages and also for taking note of some of the challenges on ground.
People still need you in service.
Yes, people still need me in service, and I would like to thank them very much for the warm wishes and the prayers out there. But someone from Buteega Juma made a comment on corruption taking more root, especially the case of the iron sheets. But just to respond to him, this matter was investigated by the CID and prosecuted by the Office of the DPP, and they did a good job and handled it on a case-by-case basis. I thank the Haji from Mbale, I've forgotten his name, and William, I think, from Budaka, and also Henry from Henry Baguma from, I don't know, Jinja or somewhere. But I would generally say that the fight against corruption is a responsibility of everybody, and indeed a responsibility for everybody, all the leaders, to stand as guardians of integrity and a shield against corruption, and also to be defenders of justice in the public domain. As leaders, we have a very big responsibility. And also just to air the mandate of the Inspectorate of Government. Being the lead anti-corruption agency, the Inspectorate of Government is responsible for promoting adherence of the rule of law, eliminating corruption and abuse of power, ensuring fairness in administration, and enforcing the leadership code of conduct. So in doing its work, the Inspectorate writes reports, makes recommendations, issues directives, and we do follow up to ensure that those directives are actually implemented. Because someone was saying the implementation is a challenge. What is it that can be done after the directives? The Inspectorate does follow up to ensure that those directives are implemented. Actually, during our regime, a unit called the follow-up unit was instituted, and that unit has been doing a very good job, and the Inspectorate has been able to recover lots of funds that have been wasted or misused out there using that unit. So as a parting shot, I think the fight against corruption needs a collective effort. Even as we talk about the readiness, it's important for us to note that at every stage, government institutions are involved, and it is through these spaces that corruption and abuse of office can occur. So we need to continue working together and having that unwavering commitment to continue acting with impartiality. We need to safeguard democracy, because safeguarding democracy cannot be a burden of only one institution. It's a shared responsibility. It belongs to the Electoral Commission, to the police, to the judiciary, to the civil society, and also to the media. It also belongs to the religious organizations and cultural leaders. So above all, it belongs to all of us, the citizens of this country. Okay. So if you're out there and you see corruption taking place, speaking up is very, very important. If you see abuse of office, report it to the responsible institutions. If you witness voter bribery, do not remain silent. Make a contribution to the development of this country. So may God bless you, the Republic of Uganda. May God bless you all. I say this for God and my country.
Thank you. Fande Wamwine, you can sum it all.
As we conclude, there is something I didn't mention because it is not directly linked to the topic. But I want to appeal to all Ugandans. Although we are in time of campaigns, make sure that you have food in your home for consumption and supplies for sale. Because campaigns are going to end, you will not go home and tell children that you don't have food because you have been in campaigns. Two, I want to request all Ugandans who are participating in this electoral process to do whatever it takes within their means to make sure that we conclude these elections when Uganda is one as a country for all of us Ugandans, regardless of our backgrounds, religion, tribe, color, because a united and peaceful Uganda will be important for all of us as a country and put us in the right direction and footing. May God bless you.
God bless you indeed, and that brings us to the end of our conversation. I want to thank you, our dear guests, for making time to come through and inspire the people of Uganda on UBC radios and on this very platform of UBC Ground Zero. I want to thank you, Dr. Patricia Chano Kiria, former Deputy IGG. I want to thank you so very much, Afande Fred Bamwine, Commissioner from Office of the President, and also Kiria Ismail, UYD President Emeritus and member of the Democratic Party. And we also had Kazora Nathan David, member of NRM and NRM Publicity, for making time to come and educate the people of Uganda as we discussed, and the campaign trail begins. We're looking at Uganda's readiness for the general polls come 2026. I want to thank you for those that were able to participate in this program by calling in and sending your messages. So many messages were many and so many callers, and we couldn't really get time. And we pray that next time, in the next edition, we shall create more time for you to always share your views, because we are here, because you are there. And that brings us to the end of our conversation. Until next time, same station, same programs. Your presidential candidates are going to be coming through to your places, or they have already come to you. I want to wish you all the best, and also pray that you are maintaining peace, because we do not have any other country we can call Plan B. This remains our home. It remains our Plan A. So safeguard it, love it, and make sure that you protect it. For God and my country, Ampaire Amon of Buteega is my name, and allow me to sign out. Till next time, same station. From me and the team, have a blessed day ahead.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza Muganda kitwa kugumaza, to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people, so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye